What are the disadvantages of a public company? Well, there's directors' liability. Directors can be held personally liable for the debts and the actions of a public company. We can pierce what we call the legal or the corporate veil if those directors have been negligent in fulfilling their duties, in fulfilling their fiduciary duties. Now, forming a public company is highly regulated, and it's costly and it's time consuming. That is a major downside. And if you're a public company and you are listed on an exchange, in addition to that, that company has to comply with all the regulations that are prescribed by that exchange. Public companies are also subject to many day-to-day legal requirements and regulations, and they can be quite onerous. So public companies have many ongoing legal formalities that they have to make sure they comply with, and those are put in place in order to protect public investors. So the cost of incorporating a public company is expensive, and it is highly costly to regulate. Now, the original owners may lose control as well if the shares are sold to the public. So once shares are in public hands, the original owners effectively are diluted, and they may end up, instead of owning, let's say, 60% of the company and having effective control, end up owning maybe 20%. That way, they might lose control. Also, there's an obligation for a public company to have at least 3 directors. It has to have at least 3 directors in order to continue operating. Now, a public company must have at least 7 shareholders. It can't fall below 7. Actually, if it falls below 7, these are grounds for liquidation. So as a minimum, a public company has to have 7 shareholders. Audits are mandatory. Public companies require their annual financial statements to be audited, and they have to be lodged with the registrar. It is mandatory. So public companies generally need to be very large enterprises to justify all the establishment costs and the regulatory costs. And management can be complicated due to the size of the company, the regulations, and also all the shareholders who need to be involved and engaged in the business. So in summary, while public companies may be an attractive prospect, because of the opportunity for public funding, they are very complicated entities to set up and to run.